Welcome to Sports Zone 247, your ultimate source for all things football. Stay up to date with the latest football news. Match highlights, transfer rumors, player updates, and in-depth analysis from top leagues around the world. Our first news is Liverpool plan next steps for blockbuster £190 million transfer raid involving Alexander Isak. Newcastle are demanding £150 million for Alexander Isak, while Crystal Palace captain Mark Guéhi is valued at £40 million, and Liverpool want to sign both players this summer. Liverpool are ready to go all out on a £150m plus trolley dash before the end of the summer window. They have got Alexander Isak in their sights and will make a move, if they are given any encouragement from Newcastle that a deal can be struck. Isak is already on strike, has made it clear he wants to go to Liverpool, and now it could just be a case of whether Newcastle can sign replacements after having a second bid of £55 million turned down for Wolves striker Jørgen Strand Larsen. There is also a growing confidence that a deal for Crystal Palace captain Mark Guéhi could still happen before Monday's deadline. Palace are keen to get Thursday's Europa Conference League playoff with Fredrikstad out of the way, while they are also looking to bring in defensive reinforcements. Palace chairman Steve Parish is likely to want around £40 million, but Guéhi only has a year left and could leave on a free next summer. Liverpool are certain to want to negotiate a lower price. There is no other serious club in for him in this window, but Manchester City would certainly be ready to move if he was available for nothing next year. That leaves Palace with a huge dilemma, and, having turned down around £70 million for Guéhi last summer, Parish admitted last week they may have to sell because they cannot afford to lose him for free. It will also be a race against time for Liverpool on Isak, and any potential deal still remains in the balance, as the Sweden striker reiterated his stance to Newcastle directors this week. The Newcastle hierarchy had been hoping to reach a peace agreement. Liverpool have had one bid rejected of £110 million and Newcastle have been demanding £150 million, but the deal is just as likely to hinge on whether Eddie Howe can replacements in. Wolves are adamant they will not sell Strand Larsen, while Brentford have snubbed a £40 million bid for Jon Wissa, and that is the key to any Isak deal. Isak, who has been training alone since missing Newcastle's pre-season tour, has not played in either of the opening two games, and he is now likely to play for Sweden ahead of Newcastle. Sweden have called him up for their World Cup qualifiers with Slovenia and Kosovo next month. Sweden coach Jon Dahl Tomasson said of Isak's call-up, "I am very happy that Alexander Isak wants to be in the squad. He is a huge player." Our second news is Hugo Ekitike snubbed by France despite stellar Liverpool form and could switch allegiance. Hugo Ekitike has enjoyed an impressive start to life at Liverpool but could get overlooked again by France, which could see him consider an international change. Liverpool's Hugo Ekitike is set to get snubbed by France once again despite his impressive start to the season, leaving the striker to weigh up a change of allegiance with Cameroon still a possibility. Ekitike moved to Anfield for a deal which could rise to £79 million in the summer and has been quick to deliver on that investment. He scored twice in as many Premier League games and was also on target in the Community Shield. However, that doesn't look like it'll be enough to convince Didier Deschamps to bring him into the fold with Les Blues as the 2018 World Cup winners prepare for this summer's tournament. They play Ukraine a week on Friday before hosting Iceland 4 days later. Deschamps will reveal his squad on Wednesday, but Le Figaro claimed that the French boss still believes it is too soon for Ekitike to receive the call-up despite him playing impressively for well over a season across his time at Frankfurt and Liverpool. As a result, Ekitike could reconsider playing for Cameroon, despite previously targeting a spot in the French squad. The striker is eligible to play for both and may now turn his attention to the African nation as he looks to gain international recognition. Cameroon's best ever World Cup effort was in 1990 when they made the quarter-finals, losing to England. They've been one of the most consistent African sides and currently sit second in their qualification group behind Cape Verde. They have played in 6 of the last 8 World Cups. France will be among the favourites for land the tournament when the eyes of the game descend on North America. Les Blues have a wealth of attacking talent with Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappé and PSG star Ousmane Dembélé both stalwarts in the front line. Ekitike's issue is the amount of competition behind them, and it's understood that Deschamps is looking more favourably at Manchester City's Ryan Cherki, Bayern Munich's Michael Ollis and PSG youngster Desire Doué, who has enjoyed a rapid rise. The fast-starting Ekitike could yet see his role at Liverpool change, which could impact on his goal-scoring exploits. The 23-year-old has come in and led the line for the Reds, but they continue to pursue Alexander Isak, and Ekitike has admitted he can play from the wings, which may be the case. Our last news is Wolves boss admits Newcastle striker search could finally be about to end as Liverpool wait. Newcastle remain keen on signing Jørgen Strand Larsen and are poised to return with a third offer for the Wolves striker, with Alexander Isak still holding out for a transfer. Wolves boss Vitor Pereira conceded that every player has a price as Newcastle prepare a third bid for Jørgen Strand Larsen. The Norway international, 25, only signed permanently for Wolves at the start of July following a successful loan spell last season, where he scored 14 Premier League goals. But the former Celta Vigo man has now emerged as a serious target for Newcastle as they continue to pursue a new attacker before the September 1 transfer deadline. And he underlined why the Magpies are so keen to sign him on Tuesday night, when he scored twice in 17 minutes after coming off the bench to fire Wolves to a 3-2 win over West Ham in the Carabao Cup. News of a second rejected bid from Newcastle broke shortly after those dramatic events at Molineux. And with Newcastle likely to return with a new proposal imminently, Pereira offered no guarantees that Strand Larsen would still be a Wolves player next month. When he was asked if Strand Larsen would remain at Molineux, Wolves head coach replied, "I don't know, I'm not the owner. Until now, Jørgen is our player, we'll see what happens. Football is football and every player has a price, even Lionel, Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll see what happens." Pereira's comments come despite Wolves sources insisting that they will not sell at any price before Monday's deadline. Newcastle's own issues in the striker department have driven them to the market. Not only are they attempting to replace Callum Wilson, their star forward, Alexander Isak, is effectively on strike after being denied a dream move to Liverpool. The Premier League champions have already seen one bid rejected for the Swede and are expected to return to the negotiating table in the coming days. That is only likely to intensify Newcastle's efforts to land Strand Larsen, with the club unlikely to consider selling Isak unless they can source quality signings of their own. But regardless of what happens between now and September 1, Pereira insists his striker would never follow Isak's footsteps and refuse to play in order to force a transfer. He added, "I know him very well and he will never force a move. There are players I have known in this situation and they just ask me not to play, but Jørgen Strand Larsen wants to play every time. Football is football and we must be ready for everything."